Hello and welcome to another edition of Drinking with Comics. I'm Sean. This is Chris, Mike, Jordan, and hold on, our special guest tonight, Luis Bermudez, independent creator, just recently published for the first time. We're going to have him on, obviously, and we're going to talk comics and drink some beer. We have a live studio audience. Kirsten is working the camera, Ray is working the iPod, and
Who's our audience member?
our audience is Alex. Alex, thank you for coming.
I got some trivia. Luis here got his job at the Comic Bug by attending Drinking with Comics. Did you know that?
I think both he and Ivan did.
Probably, yeah. So all you guys that want to work at the Comic Bug,
Come and sit in this chair.
check out our new employee.
Mike's got a casting couch in back. So.
Hey.
Yeah,
Don't say that. There's
man.
too many people get in trouble for that kind of stuff now.
I know, right?
Anyway, so how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, not
Cool.
too bad, not too bad.
Jordan's tendering.
That's
no,
okay.
I'm not. I'm busy and I'm
She's
scatterbrained.
swiping right over there.
So,
No,
let's go down the line. What are we drinking?
Jordan, what are you drinking?
I'm not drinking anything. I didn't have time to go get anything.
So Jordan's just with comics tonight.
Do you want a beer?
Do you want a
Yes,
beer?
hand me a beer, please.
There's Goose Island, Oktoberfest, and Blue Moon.
Whatever's not hoppy. I mean, I know they're all hoppy.
I think you probably want the Blue Moon if you want
All
less
right,
hop.
And we need to open it maybe, or
Yeah.
do you have
Twist
it all
twist.
over?
There's an opener right there.
There we
What's
go.
the twist off
Look at
of?
that, man.
Blue
This
Moon?
the show's coming together. Oh, there we go.
It's mainstream now.
Thank you.
Ah,
I'm being really excited. I'm in dad mode tonight, so I'm drinking Sparky's Fresh Draft Root Beer.
I think you've had that before.
It's
on the show.
amazing, actually. Give that a whiff. You smell that?
Can we use
Yeah,
that?
you
Yeah,
can
it's
hear me.
Root beer is-
yeah.
I don't
It kinda-
usually drink root beer.
Huh?
I don't usually-
I'm not a huge root beer fan either, but
Root beer.
it tastes like that candy root beer that's
Oh,
really
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
sharp and
Like the
A&W.
hard candy that
Yeah.
everybody's grandma had.
I mean, it also tastes kind of like root beer, but like an extreme version
Yeah.
of root beer. So that's what this.
Extreme
You want to
root
try it,
beer.
everybody?
I'm cool.
You good?
I'm
Everybody good?
okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
What's Lewis getting into?
Just traditional Blue Moon. Kind of nice, soft.
There it goes.
It's kind of my go-to. Just
We just had a conversation about this beer off camera, so go ahead, tell them what you're drinking.
I'm drinking the Lagunitas Wilco Tango Foxtrot, which they describe as a malty, robust, jobless recovery ale.
So
Jobless recovery. What is that?
Jobless recovery? Yeah.
Does that mean like easy to recover from?
No, it's when you want to get over the passing of Steve Jobs.
Okay.
So, I'm drinking the Goose Island Oktoberfest, which I just got back from Chicago at the beginning of the week, and I drank hundreds of bottles of these. I feel like I drank a lot of this. Goose Island is still my favorite from my native Chicago, and Oktoberfest is arguably beer-wise. Well, October is my favorite time of the year anyway for multiple reasons, and then that's just another reason I love it is Oktoberfest beers, and this is a really, really good Oktoberfest. So. And I believe their Oktoberfests are slightly different every year. All Oktoberfests kind of, there's a similar character profile, so it's not like, oh my god, it tastes like cherries and carpet or something. But, I mean, well, no, that was that weird drink you had a couple episodes ago, the upholstery.
the one that tastes,
Yeah, it was a soda, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a soda. But it's delicious. Goose Island, as always, just knocks it right out of the park. So, okay, enough about the drinking. What about the reading? So,
Let's get to comicking.
Lewis.
Yes.
You and your brother have a comic company, Smackwell. Is it Smackwell Comics or Smackwell Productions?
Smackwell Comics.
Okay. So talk about that. Talk about what it's like to work with your brother, how you came up with the idea, how you got in this anthology that just came out.
Well, my brother and I have always kind of been into the same stuff as we were growing up. Like we got into comics at the same time. We get into like whatever we're into.
What is your ages? What
What
are your ages? Sorry.
What is your
I do not divulge that information.
I mean, are you the same age or is there a
46.
gap?
A year and a half apart.
Okay, there you go.
So we were always into the same stuff. We got into comics, when we were teenagers around the same time. I recently got back into comics several years ago. I wanted to start getting back into because I hadn't been doing a lot with my art. So I want to start getting back into my art, and I kind of thought about it like the last time I was really inspired to draw a lot was when I was in comics when I was a kid. So I made the conscious decision to start coming to comic book stores, picking up comics, trying to just get like that inspiration again,
Mm-hmm.
So I started coming to the comic book about 6 years ago, I think it was around the time of Avengers vs. X-Men.
Okay.
Started getting back into comics and stuff, and I don't know, my brother and I would just like toss around ideas all the time. We worked together at Capcom, and we had kind of like a long drive. We carpool, and we just toss around ideas all over the place. And I came up with this silly idea of doing a story that was like pretty much like just like a literal interpretation of like a whole bunch of like story tropes, you know, like literary devices. And I told the story to my brother, and he was like, "What are you gonna do with it?" I was like, I don't really know, you know. And he thought I should turn it into a comic, but like I've made up a lot of comic book characters over the years, but they're more like along the lines of like serious like X-Men type of thing. My brother, on the other hand, is totally down with like the silly stuff. He played a game called Champions Online where he created a bunch of characters on there, and he's like, I got a bunch of characters. So like he took the characters he created for that and just like we ended up just putting them into our stories. And so we started working on that one original story, but then we got, you know, as I started coming here, I got wind of a lot of these projects where they were doing like anthologies and stuff. So we started submitting stories for those. So the first one that actually got published was The Secret Anthology. My brother kind of did this story on his own.
This was a comic bug anthology.
Yeah, I've never met your brother. How did he wind up in our books?
He's I'm kind of like
I've
his
never even met
agent.
him. Okay, yeah, all right.
Nepotism, dude.
It's like you go home from work and you're like, hey, I got a job for you, or
Kind of.
You
No,
keep-
I mean
you
he's,
keep
he's
him
part
locked
of
in
the
a
sketchy, he keeps himself locked in a room.
Oh, okay.
He prefers it that way. No, he's part of the Sketchy Bug group online. He interacts with everybody there. So like whenever like all these projects come up, you know, of course I'm like, yeah, I want to do that, but like my brother and I are working as a team. So
yeah.
The Sketchy Bugs, so the comic bug has, pretty much any night of the week that you come here, there's an event of some kind. And they're not all events as grandiose as this. They have a lot of creator-oriented, so a lot of independent local people that either like aspire to work in comics or are working in comics, and they'll come here and they'll get together and toss around ideas and kind of just focus. So Sketchy Bugs is like explain. I mean,
it's kind of like a sort of a bullpen kind of environment.
Okay, perfect.
You know, there's a bunch of creators who are working together. They kind of feed off each other, encourage each other to get their projects done, and you know, the comic bug is great. They kind of provide this platform where they'll put together these anthologies and allow these people to submit their stories and give them an avenue to get published. You know?
which is, Mike, I mean, and June as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, it kind of grew out
amazing.
of, we had monthly, well, we still do have monthly creator
Yeah, I
meetings.
know, and like Mike brings in people like Mike Mignola and I think Charles
Mignola.
Soule. I can't.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Just because he doesn't like it when people
Mr.
mispronounce
It's
his
okay,
name.
he doesn't watch this.
Yeah, I mean,
You
Mr.
might.
Hellboy, and I mean, you bring in people to talk and to give advice and to give encouragement, but also like you then publish these anthologies and you really cultivate the creative life here. And I mean, like, it's awesome. It should not be taken for granted. I'm not saying anybody does, but like it should be talked about because. There may be other comic stores that do that, but like you fostered the thing about comics that I love the best, and that is community.
Yeah, we have a whole wall of local people, and I mean, like I said, we started. Actually, it's something June and I had wanted to do for a long time when we first opened the shop. About 2 years into the Comic Bugs history, this guy Philip Clark, who you guys might know, moved to LA from New York, and he was part of this group called CAG, Comic Artists Guild. So they wanted to open an LA chapter, and there were like membership dues and all this stuff, like $25 a year.
Yeah, that sounds like New York. Dude.
Oh, it was horrible. So what happened was a lot, like we had a pretty robust group, and they all paid dues, and those dues went to go publish the New York book. Eventually, Philip stopped coming, and some other people took it over. And then when they left, the creators were still coming, and we had no leadership. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll start bringing people in. And we started having workshops and stuff, and some of the guys that were coming consistently, they're like, yeah, these are great, and we learn a lot, but we never really make comics here. So then they started meeting here on Wednesdays, and I mean, it grew into this thing. People come from all over LA. People come from San Diego sometimes.
It's very
cool,
cool.
yeah.
I mean, it is one of the things about your shop that immediately endeared the shop to me, and I mean,
Well, thank you.
kudos to you.
And here we
And
sit.
to Jim. So anyway, so okay, look, I just wanted to give some background on that because when you mentioned Sketchy Bug, I know what it is, but I realize like other people may not know what it
This is
is.
true.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry. So continue.
Where was I?
Well, that
So-
anthology.
So we
Yeah,
did
you
this
did this
anthology, and then I found out through the group somebody knew Russell Nolte from Wannabe Press, who was putting together another anthology, which was a book about monsters. This is
It's a beautiful book.
it is a great book. You can't tell, but these are glow in the dark eyes. It's hardcover. It's
I
a
mean,
great-
they watched me put my phone to it, and
Oh,
Are they
you-
glowing?
I did that while you guys were talking.
I don't know.
All
No,
that's going to
that-
do is
that
piss
like
off the
instance-
editor.
I don't think. Well, let me preface this by saying that my brother created a lot of these silly characters. He had one character called Gigaku, which was just it was a poo monster. No, but like, so I found out about this this anthology called Monsters and Other Scary Shit, and I just thought it'd be a perfect vehicle for using this character.
For the
So-
poo monster, yes, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, there was no choice at that point. So, you know, I threw a story together using a bunch of my brother's characters and submitted it to Russell, and it actually that story just poured out of me. Like, but the problem was the original submission guideline was 15 pages, and when I wrote this thing, I wrote a 15-page script. I submitted it to Russell. He's like, "Cool, you're in, but can you make it 8 pages?" Because at that point he got so many submissions, he's trying to cut it down. Editing it down to 8 pages it took me longer to write the original thing, but I'm really happy with the way it came out, and I'm super proud of this book. I'm super proud to be part of this. There's so many great creators.
Yeah, I mean, I have not bought it yet, or so obviously I haven't read it yet. I've read your story, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
It runs a gamut from stuff that's a little bit more lighthearted to stuff that seems like it's. I mean, I don't know that anything's like super like dark, but there's some darker stuff in there. Some stuff that reminds me of like.
Yeah.
It looks like that painted like Vertigo kind of. It's really really cool.
Yeah, the art styles run the gamut.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like.
You have stuff.
As it should in an anthology. I think
I
you should. I
agree.
mean, that's the beauty of anthology.
Exactly.
Is the variety.
Yeah,
And
I totally agree.
we had a signing here for it on Wednesday, and they did really well. Sold a lot of books.
Life is like a comic anthology. You never know what you're
gonna
gonna get.
So Louis, before we move on to other stuff, do you have anything else in the works going on? You and Alex?
Well, I mean, we're constantly making all kinds of different stuff. He's working on that original story that we put together. It's a whole length comic, 22 pages. So he's kind of like in the middle of inking that one.
Okay.
But yeah, also I've the original anthology I submitted for a couple years ago. It never got finished, and I've kind of taken on the reins of that. So now I'm editing the.
Yes, thank you, Louis.
The what one?
Doomsday.
Doomsday, that's
Yes.
right.
Anything
Let's
else?
talk about what you're reading, dude.
What I'm reading.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Let's
Louis has. So we told him like.
He did. This is Lewis's episode.
It is absolutely. I want it to be. So he has
on the
read
next
more.
issue of Drinking with Lewis.
He has read more comics than probably any of us in the
Last year.
Well, I read a lot, and I haven't read that much in the last 4 weeks. So,
All right. Well,
oh, I see Alterna Comics right there.
yeah, these are actually pretty
Dude, they're
awesome.
amazing.
They're Amazing Age. Is this?
You see, they just released a commercial for Alterna Comics, and they're bringing
On
it.
TV?
No, it's not on TV. It's on the internet. It's great. Anyway, it's and you know what it is? It's the camera moves into a comic shop and everybody is smelling their comics.
Oh, really?
It's so awesome. I
Oh,
laugh my
can we edit
ass
that
off.
into the episode
I
so
will.
we can see that?
I totally will. It's done.
So why'd you bring Amazing Age?
You know, this thing it actually kind of really resonated with me. It's very old school. The writer actually a lot of these characters he created when he was a kid, and
Oh, that's cool. I never.
So it resonated. Those are
Well,
characters he
it's-
created as a
yeah,
kid.
it's a bunch of really silly characters. Like a lot of their names are really like there's a guy called Shoot Down, which like only a kid would come up with, you know.
That's great.
But yeah, it's very kind of self-aware. The story itself. It's kind of meta. It's about like this kid who used to make comics as a kid, and when he was younger, and then now he's like a teenager or something, and he gets sucked into this world that is the world he created as comics.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's all very silly. And they have like all these like teams or groups that have like these acronyms, you know, like silly
Save.
acronyms and stuff. It's like the same kind of stuff like my brother and I are doing in our comics. We do ridiculous acronyms and.
So it looks like he gets sucked into very, very like Silver Age
yeah,
style.
It's very classic looking.
Hence
And I think
Amazing
that
Age.
it
That's cool.
pairs very nicely with the classic style that the Alterna Comics are made in. And I don't know, I got a kick out of it. I'm enjoying it. They even have a letters page.
Oh,
in the back.
really?
Yeah.
The old comic sucks him into the world. When they open
Oh,
the
you picked
comic.
up the old comic?
Yeah, you
Ah.
pick up the comic he made as a kid and it sucks him into the world.
So it's kind of like Jumanji.
Yeah, I guess so,
That's
a
the
little
second
bit.
episode in a row where Jumanji came up.
So tell us about Secret Weapons.
Yeah, there are-
And I'll tell you the
there are
secret
lots of
origin of how
options.
the guy got hired to write that book.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Well, it basically they take, you know, in the Valiant comics they have, you know, psiots are kind of the characters that have like the superpowers and stuff, and somebody's kind of systematically going around like, trying to like capture all these psiots and stealing their powers and everything, and this is kind of like they put together a team of what they call like throughout the series as the rejects, like the ones that weren't like. They didn't have cool enough powers to like actually make like one of the real teams, like, you know, Unity or Harbingers or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a really cool story. These kids that just have like, you know, one of the kids like can talk to birds, you know, and one
That
of them
sounds
has,
useful.
it comes in handy.
Okay.
You know.
Birds see a lot of shit.
I'm flashing back to that episode of Rick and Morty where Morty can start understanding the squirrels
Oh
talking.
yes. Yeah, and I like to think that if birds could talk, like their frame of reference wouldn't be ours. They would speak what sounds like nonsense, even though it's English. But that's
That's interesting.
I'm
Wait.
bastardizing an old expression.
Did you take
really.
LSD before you
Let me
came
hear.
in today?
Let me
I-
hear.
that's-
Wait,
that-
hang on.
That's a valid
You're
question.
bastardizing an old expression.
Yes.
I want to hear your version of the old expression.
The old expression
Go.
is like, if lions could talk, we wouldn't be able to understand them.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Huh?
because you know it's like we say, "How are you doing?" and they say like, "Oh, it's just catching a zebra past two is what's going on."
Oh, like
What
their
the
little
fuck does that
terminology.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like going to Australia.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Fucking Aussies.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, well, so actually the writer of this, Eric Heiser, I used to work with him.
Did you?
I did when I was a tester on Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, not the new one. Yeah, back in like 2005.
Yeah. So he married my buddy's ex-girlfriend, but he wrote, I mean, just because he was dating her at the time, Christine, I kind of like tangentially would see his career sort of develop and grow, and he wrote Nightmare on Elm Street, and he wrote
Wait,
maybe
what?
like the reboot.
reboot?
Nightmare.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The
The one
Jack
with
Earl-
Jack
He
Earl-
wrote a bunch of movies that were
Wasn't that bad.
but then he
I
wrote The
didn't
Arrival
get that.
last year, which won the Academy Award, didn't it?
Which
Oh,
one?
really?
Did
The
it?
Arrival, yeah.
That's a.
I won Academy Award.
Pretty for a screenplay, yeah. Or
Oh.
it was at least nominated. And I'm like, oh my god, that's that dude.
That's
Good job,
awesome.
Eric.
So then he came in and signed these, and I asked him, wow, so you just won the Academy Award or were nominated.
Yeah.
Why are you doing comics now? I love comics. And
That's awesome.
he wrote the screenplay for Harbinger, was how it all started.
Oh.
And then he was working with Valiant on that. They were going back and forth, and they asked him if he wanted to write a comic, and here it is.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you like The Arrival, pick up
Wow.
Secret Weapons.
That's cool. Yeah, Valiant is.
They're forward thinking.
Ray, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to add, just because when you described that, it made me think of one of my favorite mid 2000s Disney movies that was kind of thrown away, and that's Sky High, which is fantastic.
yeah.
Sky High. Yeah.
It's
I enjoyed
fantastic because the main character in the story is this kid who his powers haven't developed.
Yeah,
and
no, his parents are like
Yeah.
the premier.
Yeah,
superheroes.
his mother can fly. His father has super strength,
Yeah.
but he hasn't developed his superpowers yet. So
they
he gets
him
put
into
in
the sidekicks
the
program.
sidekick program where his friends are like sidekicks. So like he has a girl who like can turn into a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another kid that turns into a puddle.
Well,
like
there's
another
also a
kid
girl
that
that
can
can control
glow.
plants.
You've seen it?
Yes.
That was actually the girl who is now playing Killer Frost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, on the Flash. Yeah.
Yell, Panda Pig.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old girl, and you know that's when I turned her on to because I want her to watch more superhero kind of things, you know, and that was one. I mean, it's awesome. It's Kurt Russell. Kurt
Yeah,
Russell
it's a
is-
fantastic
I mean,
movie.
I've heard
But
Tim
it's
Allen,
so
right?
Bruce
Oh
Campbell.
no, Tim Allen was in
No.
Zoom. That was a different movie.
Oh, good.
Bruce Campbell is the
I like Tim Allen.
is in it as well.
The gym teacher.
Is the gym teacher.
Sonic Boom.
God, I'm forgetting the actor's name.
Linda Carter was in there, right?
Linda Carter
She was
is
the,
in there.
The principal.
The
of
principal.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the actor's name right now, but he's in the comedy troupe Broken Lizard. He's the guy who played Officer Farva. Kevin Heffernan.
Yeah. He was the bus driver.
He's the bus driver. Yeah, and it's a pretty funny film for a mid-90s Disney.
No, mid 2000s.
Mid 2000s,
Yeah.
yeah. It's fantastic.
What movie?
Sorry.
Sky High.
Oh,
Go
Sky
ahead, date me.
High.
Have you seen it?
Sky High's
Sky
actually
High.
really well done. It's so underrated. It's hilarious.
Exactly.
You weren't listening.
No,
right?
I was because the superheroes with like not good enough powers reminded me of this one book series that I forget. I don't know the name of the series, but there's many books. Castle Rubina, A Spell for Chameleon, and they're really funny. And for some reason, the wizards, all the magical people of the world live in Florida, but it's not really Florida. Like the map says, if this looks like something to you normals, that's just a coincidence. But
It looks like Florida.
It's Florida.
Swamp Gas.
And you can't live there if you don't have magical abilities. Like once you're 18, you have to prove you have magical ability. And one person, like, they can make the smell of rotten milk. One person can make a spot of color on the wall. And like the main character in A Spell for Chameleon, like he seemingly has no powers, so he has to leave, and that's all about his journey. But then he's told, no, you totally have like sorcerous, magnificent, huge powers, but you can't be told what they are, and you can't prove that you have them. So,
Oh, wow, that's
Sounds
interesting.
it's actually a really good book.
So in other words, this has been done many times before, better.
Let's talk about shirtless bear fighters.
Should we take our shirts off and talk
Well,
about it?
this is you're always
No.
looking
Save
for
that for the
reason
end of the show, Mike. For the end.
This is a thing. This is a problem running rampant in our high schools, where young high school students will go and get shirtless and fight bears, and they're dying because you can't just take off your shirt and fight a bear. It doesn't mean you're going to win.
Do you mean like San Francisco Bears or?
No, I mean like bears. Like
Oh, okay.
oh wait, no, this is a comic.
Like the
Oh, dude, I thought this was like a social issue.
the Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears. They've sucked for 30 years. Yeah, that's right. Ditka can't save you now. Fuck you. Anyway, go ahead and move to Gary, Indiana, you bunch of fucking worthless fucks. Anyway.
Shirtless Bear Fighter. Yeah, it's one guy who he was raised by bears. He
What kind of bears?
It's nice guy.
like actual like bears out in the I don't know, grizzlies or something
Oh,
out in the woods.
that's
but
like the
then
king of bears.
there was a falling out, and he left them, and like it's all
got
conspiracy
teeth.
theories.
It's a falling out with the bears.
This comic is so ridiculous.
I'm done with your shit, Yogi. I'm out.
No, there's this guy who's trying to like get the bears out of the woods or something because he wants to cut them all down because he owns like a toilet paper making company. Like it's ridiculous.
You may have just sold me.
Dude,
Yeah, like his beard.
Can you
looks
hold
We
up
like-
the
need more
cover?
toilet paper. Kill the bears.
I don't have-
Can you hold up the cover?
Oh,
That is a-
you don't have a number
that is
one?
a-
Wait,
I
wait.
couldn't find it.
Even better. Even better.
Oh my god.
He likes
There
it's like
it
the
is.
it's like the
Yeah.
Charmin bear,
Oh,
right?
What's the same on every one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tree climbing bucks.
And this thing like who's
Reclining fucks.
Oh, you think you're so fucking
Oh,
special.
guess what? There's a lot of bear traps in this book.
And you see the email is fuzzywipes@gmail.com.
And there's
Nice.
a toilet with razor blade arms. Or
Oh my
saw
God.
blade
How
arms.
many
That's
picnic
amazing.
baskets
Dude,
are there?
Lewis. Good pick. So let's talk about.
Sex,
Do we want-
baby.
Do we want to talk about?
Get into this.
Not
Do we want to talk about the Marvel stuff, or do we want to talk about the fact that Alan Moore is probably like casting sigils and like killing sheep babies left and right to try and stop? Whatever
We
it is.
can,
Let's
go
talk about
through
the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can touch on this
Somebody
quickly at the
actually
end.
played
There.
Well, okay. So let's.
Alan
So
Moore, maybe. I don't know,
Mike-
it's a theory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mike
Okay.
wanted us to read Legacy. First of all, you know what? fuck your lenticular covers. To me, that's like Tesla coming back and the radio being like, "Oh, they're great." No.
Number one, Tesla is back.
Don't leave me hanging.
They came
dude.
back in
Don't leave me
2010.
hanging. Come on, let's get a whole table here.
I'm not gonna say I sell those things.
Okay.
Why do you think I want to talk about it?
Lenticular
let's make
covers-
that the secret word of the day. Ah.
Lenticular covers are like bringing back the mullet.
Good job.
Just there's a reason it's dead. Don't fucking do it. It's stupid beyond belief.
There's a whole generation of kids that didn't get to experience.
And you know what? I was
lenticular
envious
covers.
of their virginity in the lenticular area.
Hey,
That sounds so
that-
fucked up.
That issue 2 is a chromium cover.
Oh yeah,
Right there.
with the claws, you know. Okay, so
No,
there's a
Valiant's
fucking
doing-
ad on the back. Come on.
Let me see that.
There's a
What is
story in
that?
there.
Oh, it's a fucking lenticular ad. Awesome.
Well, once they decided to make the whole thing lenticular.
The whole book is
No,
No, but the
lenticular.
That
thing
was
is,
awesome.
like, the regular cover
Every
wraps
comic
around.
in the Marvel lenticular universe. There you go, Marvel.
The
Take it,
lenticular
take it and
age,
run
yes.
with it. Have your lenticular universe. There you go. So, this is where they're going to do this thing where Cap will no longer be black or old. Thor won't be a woman. Hulk won't be Asian. They're just going to reset everything and just be like, hey, none of that happened. It's just back to white people.
Not
So
true.
if you-
Not
you're
true.
safe. You
Not
can
true.
play.
They're going to coexist.
They-
Oh. Wow.
because
Hey, consumers, remember all that shit you got your panties up in a bunch about? Well, guess what? No, seriously, guess what?
What?
Chicken butt.
Yes.
So what happened was last year DC Comics did they had New 52, and
That was last year?
No, well that was 4 years ago.
I seem to remember that.
4 years ago, DC had New 52,
that was
and
5
Marvel.
That's 5 years ago.
I'm gonna lay down some knowledge and some history real quick. Marvel.
That's 5 years ago.
That was fine. No, I know, but what I'm saying,
Holy
so Marvel gradually was introducing diversity into their line, and I
And
think
they-
some
they
of it
did-
was really
they-
good.
they did it really
some
well.
of it was organic, and DC tried that same thing about 3 years into their New 52, where they gave Black Canary a series. They tried all these different things, and they kind of fell flat on their face
Well,
with it.
'cause it was disingenuous.
So
We
then what
talked
they
about
did
this
was they
at the
did
time.
Rebirth, which was okay. Well, you guys don't want all this new different stuff, so we're gonna, bring back Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern, the main one. Everything's gonna be back to basics, and did really well for them.
Well, no,
So-
but DC, they didn't do it as
For like
a way to
2
get rid
months.
of all the diversity they were trying.
Right.
I think a lot of people missed a lot of the classic versions of the characters
Yeah.
from before
and
the
that
New 52.
and that was the biggest issue, was that it's, for a lot of the Marvel fans, it wasn't so much the fact that it was diversity, it was the fact that Marvel was saying, that essentially remember all those characters that you love, that you grew up on, that you've been buying the comics for years about? Well, we're going to go ahead and just either kill them off, or we're going to put them to the side or whatever, and here's these new characters, are the exact same as the characters you loved, but now they're just very different and diverse, and you will love them, and if you don't, we will call you out on social media.
Yeah, right. On
and
social-
say,
the
you're
social
racist, and you're
justice
sexist.
warriors.
If you don't love this right now, you don't go out and buy it, fuck all of you,
I
you
don't think
racist
Marvel
fucking
said
homophobes.
that. I don't think that was Marvel's
I
position.
think it's a
but-
direct quote.
It is.
Direct quote.
But
It is.
so what happened though was DC didn't really do it well.
No,
so then they
did
did
it terribly,
Rebirth,
as
which
they do
was
almost everything.
like a back to basics. Everybody was
had
white
gems.
again,
It did.
It did.
and that was pretty successful for them. So then Marvel started freaking out, and they're like, okay, we got to bring back our legacy characters.
Which I'm just going to say, I don't know how Marvel, I feel like, was there like a management change because I feel like they knew, they didn't pay attention to anything DC
I think it was
did.
the numbers change.
Yeah,
It's
there's a big
weird
pie
to me.
chart that comes out every month.
We talked about this at the time, just put them on the table.
Well,
You know?
what do you
Remember
mean?
this? Put them on the table.
Put your balls on the table.
Yeah, Marvel was very good about boom, and DC was like,
Yeah.
oh well, I mean, if you can photograph me from the left side, it'll look bigger. It's like,
Right.
Well, here's the whole thing with DC. When they did their whole New 52, they wanted to entice new readers
Yeah.
who didn't necessarily want to jump in on Superman fucking 812.
well, all
Yeah.
the
they're
the
like, well, where
baggage.
the fuck do you start? So here's some brand new number ones, great jumping off point for people. Period.
And
you know?
you're right. They
Jumping
did.
off point, yeah.
They did.
Jumping on,
Initially,
jumping
there
off.
were some
Yeah,
gems.
I mean, you're jumping on.
Well,
You're
what they did
involved
with
in
Rebirth
things.
is they wanted to get the people who jumped off
To come back.
To come
Exactly.
back,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And some did.
They
Because,
tried it. They put themselves out there. They tried to get more people on there by creating new origin stories for a lot of the classic heroes, which is fine because it's the same characters. Marvel, on the other hand, they decided that they were going to go ahead and just straight up replace legacy characters.
Well, it was
So
a gradual
this whole
thing.
thing with it was, yeah. It
Wasn't
just,
all one- it wasn't like a
it didn't happen all at
in the
once.
span of like
Exactly,
2
yeah.
years.
But for a lot of people though, they got very irate. They wanted their Bruce Banner Hulk. They wanted their Logan Wolverines. They wanted their Thor to be actually Thor, which still this goddamn thing. I don't give a shit how good the Jane Foster Thor is. Thor is his fucking name. It's not a mantle.
Well,
You don't
and
pass that
that's
shit
the
down,
thing.
dude.
That's the
Come
thing.
on.
But
In the
But this
comic,
is
it was
worthy.
originally
It's
a
changed
mantle.
before.
Yeah, it's changed. I mean, it was
It-
Beta Ray Bill for a while.
It has changed, and he's a fraud.
Exactly.
And I
it
do-
was Beta Ray Bill.
I
It
do
wasn't
think it's
fucking
good and
Thor
it's
with
important
fucking,
for
that
comic
was
companies to
weird.
be socially conscious. That,
Exactly.
that there is more than just
You can do
straight
that.
white males out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Make
You
new
can do-
characters. Make a new lexicon of amazing characters, but don't just be like, oh, people are up in arms. Make this character black and this one Hispanic. Like, make new characters. There's room for new characters.
They can coexist.
We need more new Kamala Khans.
Well, they're gonna coexist now.
Well, now they are, but you know what? But it took how much bitching? It took how much of a plunge of sales for them to finally say, okay, we get it. You want your old characters back here? Well, here they are. But guess what? We're keeping the new ones, and now just fucking deal with it.
I think it's time to sign off.
Yes.
I blame the squirrels for all of this.
They are to blame, but they're so
We
cute.
bicker about
So,
comics while
at
they
any
destroy
rate,
They're taking over Peru.
Yeah.
Hi, Rachel.
this is Drinking with Comics,
She was the protest.
and that's Lewis, and Monsters and Other Scary Shit is... Wow, man, these climbed right up on top of me. Thank you, good night.
Congrats, Lewis.
Woo!
Congrats, America.
Fuck you, Mark.
I'm calling it now, Editing Nightmare.